Welcome to the art vlog, art lovers, with me, George Dopamine. This is the vlog that takes you inside art galleries and exhibitions across London, the southeast of England and beyond. And today I'm tremendously excited to be heading to Serpentine South Gallery here in beautiful Hyde Park in London to explore the first solo exhibition in London in over 20 years by artist Yinka Shonibare. You might well be aware of Yinka Shonibare's work from his iconic fourth plinth in Trafalgar Square sculpture, Nelson's Ship in a Bottle, which is now at the National Maritime Museum in Greenwich. It's fair to say that Shonibare, who was born in Britain, moved to Nigeria at the age of 3 before coming back here to study art, is a superstar of the world art scene, most well known for his work in Dutch wax cloth like you can see here. The exciting thing about this show is that there are two works that have never been seen before. They're fresh for 2024, as well as a work that's being seen in London for the first time. So I can't wait to head inside. I will narrate this show because his work is incredibly interesting and deals with many different themes surrounding colonialism, race, power, migration. It's going to be a really big show, which is on until the 1st of September. It is free to get in, and I have to say thank you again to the Serpentine for providing these wonderful free shows. The last time I was at Serpentine South was for Barbara Kruger, so come and join me as we head inside. Wind sculpture in bronze 4 captures a billowing cloth, hand painted in turquoise, yellow and orange Dutch wax pattern. Dutch wax pattern is a ongoing and recurring motif for a lot of Shonibare's work. And he was particularly intrigued about it because it was an Indonesian-inspired African print that was actually produced in Holland and then exported back to West Africa, where it's now seen as quintessentially West African. This sculpture is all about the wind and movement. It's an abstract work. And Shonibare says, according to the booklet, I realised the significance of wind for the diaspora and the enslavement of people. Looking at the sails, I realised that I could develop that into more abstract forms. There has been an impassioned and ongoing discourse on the role of statues within our public spaces, especially statues commissioned originally to commemorate colonial figures or even figures who were part of the transatlantic slave trade. And Shonibare wants to contribute to this discussion. These statues are really interesting because they're based on statues that are public statues in London, but he does two things to them which you can hopefully see. First of all, he shrinks them down to our level so that while the original statues loom above us as figures of authority, these figures are smaller than us on plinths, and we can look them in the eye or sort of stand equal to them in lots of ways. And secondly, he covers them in Dutch wax patterns so that they are very, very colourful figures. Originally, most of these are large-scale bronze sculptures. And so he said in his own words, I'm making them more beautiful. I'm changing their character or the history of their character into something much more interesting. And this is a really important work, in my opinion, in the sense that it contributes so strongly to the debate that we are having surrounding sculptures. And if you go to the exhibition, there's a bit of information on the role that each of these figures had in colonialism and British colonial history. I saw this work as contributing to the discussion on the role of public sculptures today, and asking us to think again about how we use our public spaces in changing the sculpture's scale and design. He's obviously asking us to look at them in different ways and consider them. And in the booklet which accompanies the exhibition, Shonibare himself reflects that I don't think that statues should be destroyed. The public should be able to see them, but they should be museums built for them so people can understand the history of these people and what they did. And this exhibition attempts to do that by providing information which puts the figures of which the statues are showing into context. This sense of contributing to urgent issues within Britain and the world continues with the central, in my opinion, masterpiece of this exhibition, Sanctuary City. You head into the darkened central gallery of Serpentine South, where you're confronted with a series of buildings which are lit up and decorated with Dutch wax print within. and these are on low tables, so you're forced to kind of stoop and squat down to look in and to explore the buildings within. And each one of these buildings is a scaled down replica of a building which may be historic, maybe contemporary, that's been used at some time as a place of refuge for persecuted and vulnerable groups. Three things struck me about the buildings that Shonibare has chosen here. The first is their geographical range from Japan in the east through Syria in the Middle East and Rwanda up to France and Greece in Europe, across to the United States and out into the Pacific again to Hawaii. Shonibare is deliberately telling us that this need for sanctuary can exist anywhere in the world. And secondly, the variety of scale and importance of the buildings in terms of their stature, from the grand edifices of the Notre Dame in Paris or the United Nations headquarters in New York, through to the much more humble Peter Mott House, used as part of the 19th century Underground Railroad of safe houses that offered a respite to enslaved African Americans fleeing from the slave owning southern states north and into Canada. Thirdly, the range of time that these places of sanctuary represent, stretching all the way back to ancient Athens, through the Middle Ages with the representation of Beaulieu Abbey, and right up to the present day, where the Bibby Stockholm, a barge moored off Portland in Dorset, is represented as a rather biting and ironic modern place of sanctuary for asylum seekers waiting to have their claims processed in the UK. I say that because it's obviously been accused of overcrowding. And has not been, in lots of people's opinion, a very welcoming place of sanctuary at all. Shonibare is obviously trying to change the narrative surrounding sanctuary and the need for it. He, in the booklet accompanying the exhibition, describes shelter as one of the most pressing political concerns right now. In an age of increased conflict and increased oppression of a variety of different groups of people across the world. And in highlighting this basic human need for safety and shelter, Shonibare is attempting, I think, to provide a counter argument to the often dominant one in public discourse, which is often surrounded by language which can be quite inflammatory and toxic. So this is a really important work for me and was definitely a highlight of the exhibition. Shonibare often uses the library as a motif for expressing his own ideas and challenging conventional histories and conventional canons and discourse. There's been the British Library, which included books bound like this in Dutch wax print cotton, but with the names of contributors to British life who were either immigrants themselves, like Joseph Conrad, or the children of immigrants. There was also the African and American libraries as well. The War Library is overwhelming. It contains 5,270 books, as you can see here, bound in Dutch wax print cotton. And of those, 2,700 of them are labelled with gold lettering naming conflicts and peace treaties, which are directly or indirectly the result of imperialism and colonialism. Some of the, if you're eagle eyed, you'll already notice some of the books are left without lettering, indicating events which are yet to take place. And in a really nice touch, there's some computers or iPad styles at the in the table in the middle where you can actually research some of the wars and conflicts which you're seeing here. The sheer scale of the books is a bit depressing when you think about the subject matter, but the beauty and sheer scale of the work is incredible, and it's a jaw dropping exhibit. as well as prints and woodcuts, which I'm going to show you as I wrap up this review. There's a really interesting display on his guest project space, is in Lagos, in Nigeria, and also in London, which are spaces where Shonibare hopes, in a very generous spirit, to nurture the up and coming generations of artistic talent. He's often commented on the fact that when he was an up and coming artist, there was squats with gallery spaces where you could display your work as young up and coming artists. And because of property prices, these are few and far between in London now. And so these spaces are there to give artists the opportunity and space to be able to show work for the first time. Overall, I really enjoyed this exhibition. It combined aesthetic beauty with really biting political message and commentary on the state of our country at this time. I think you could criticize Shonibare a bit for ploughing very similar furrows throughout his career, both in terms of some of the ways in which he expresses himself. The War Library, for example, won't wow you as much if you've already seen the British Library or the American Library or the African Library, and also in his repetitive, constant use of Dutch wax print. But for me, that wasn't an issue because these works were really urgent. And intriguing works which showed an artist and his team working at the peak of their powers. And I thought the three showpiece works were really special in that sense and will stick with me artistically for a long time. So I thought there were three outstanding works, and overall I would give this show an 8.5 out of 10, and I really recommend that you come. The only reason I'm not giving it a 9 or 10 is because I thought some of the works, the woodcuts and other works, weren't quite as strong, and I would love to have seen more from the guest artist space projects, and I'd love to have seen some of that work. I think that would have been on the icing on the cake, but overall a really good show. If you've been to this show, do post in the comments. And just one last thing, you must watch, if you enjoyed this show, my Untangled Past vlog. I'm placing the link here. Don't forget to subscribe to the art vlog and get out there and explore the local art scene.